You're watching Your View.
Thank you for joining us. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
All right, great friends. On a Wednesday, it is great to have everybody here. If you are listening on 1090 on radio, awesome. Along with mi hermano numero uno, grande Alejandro en la casa. Hola, grande.
Hello.
Nice to see you, good looking. And along with the man bringing the street cred from the podcast shed, Big Brown in the house.
What's popping?
Let me tell you what's popping. I'm going to tell you exactly what's popping. I'm glad you asked, as a matter of fact. All these new viewers we have.
Oh,
on Your View, on Channel 4 San Diego,
My
Channel
View?
4. No, Your
View.
View. Yeah.
not my view, your view.
Your view.
Your View.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was a little kid, my mother would say, "We're going to Miami." Miami or your Amy? Because I was like a little snot like that.
Same cheesy joke that Browner just
sort
did.
of the same infantile nonsense that Browner just did. Yeah. So anyway, listen, all the new viewers on Your View, Channel 4 San Diego, Channel 4 Santa Barbara, Channel 118 in Palos Verdes, and Channel 118 in Orange County, to all of the new viewers out there that are watching on television now, radio happens earlier in the day. Then television happens from 7 to 8 p.m. I actually got off the air yesterday and went, the day never ends, man. It just keeps going on and on. So for those of you that are television viewers now, let me say to you guys, coming up, Big John McCarthy, who is the most famous referee in the UFC. You remember that guy? Let's get it on. That guy. That guy is an amazing, incredible story. As a former 23-year LAPD guy who then, as a mixed martial artist, became a referee and a judge and now a commentator and no longer lives in Southern California. He's going to tell us why. Big John McCarthy coming up a little bit later on for all of you that are watching on TV. For those of you that are just getting with us, wherever you are, audio podcast platform. Alex, if you don't mind, put up that thing where we can tell everybody all the different places they can find us. If you're on audio podcast platforms, if you're on terrestrial radio on 1090, if you are watching on our homepage, and I say our homepage, our home base on YouTube, that's where I think you guys should be. I think you should come to YouTube because that's where the YouTube chat happens. People leave comments, people like stuff, people subscribe. And then, hey, if you want to get involved in the conversation, you come join us on Sided. And I'll talk about that coming up here in just a minute. But first, I'm going to try and bang through a bunch of stories, man. Do you guys give me any chance of being able to do this? What do you think?
No.
Yeah, so for those of you who have not seen this show before, this is a recurring thing where we say we're going to get through everything that we planned on getting to, and we get to two things. Maybe.
And it's always Scott's fault.
Right. So go for it, Scott.
Actually, I blame you, Browner.
I know, that's why I got ahead of it.
I know. Smart move. Hey, let me say this. It is now time for me to try and get through all the big stories, the things that people are talking about on Wednesday, all day long. These are the big stories that people are talking about. So here goes. And these big stories are being brought to us by our friends at Corky's Pest Control. If you are in LA, if you are in Riverside, if you are in San Diego, get ready, because when the Padres and the Dodgers play on TV, you're going to see a lot of Cork all over TV. And he's going to tell you about rats and mice and gophers and ants and spiders and all kinds of other pests. You got pest problems? You call Cork. Call 1-800-901-1102.
Corky's.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Alex, give me a 3-shot. I'm going to try and do this.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to try and do this. Here goes. I'm going to try and get to all of these stories. Browner, don't take me off track, Browner, like you normally do.
Okay.
Today is Wednesday. These are the stories people are talking about. 1, opening day of the Major League Baseball season happens mañana, okay? And let me tell you something. Dodger fans are trying to figure out, are we going to be the greatest team in the history of the game, which is what one LA columnist says.
No.
And another LA columnist says, yeah, here's the reality. When you win the World Series, you normally don't even make it back to the postseason. In fact, here are all the statistics that say that it was the 2000 like 1, 2, 3 Yankees that had won back-to-back World Series titles. Since that time, no World Series champion has ever repeated. And the numbers are minute when it comes to World Series champions that even get back to the postseason the following year.
In that column, the second one, not the greatest team of all time, in the second column, did the writer write what the stats were after playing a 60-game season?
No, because
it's a very different year for everybody. Because of that, many teams are anticipating that pitchers will not last long because they basically took a year off. That, some hitters haven't even played. Young guys didn't have a minor league season if you had any call-ups this year. I really don't know what to expect. Would I be surprised if a team wins 117 games? 100%. That's a lot of baseball games to win on any year, but a year coming off a year like we just had, that would be very surprising.
Well, that is why the Dodgers, you would think, are ultimately motivated right now, because many people look at their World Series last year and they say, yeah, it's legit. They won it. But it was only a 60-game season. So therein lies a lot of the, I would think, motivation for the Dodgers. But the flip side, go back to our shot of Petco Park. In San Diego, here in home base San Diego, let me tell you something. People are going nuts. People are losing their minds. People believe, for the first time, I promise you, for the first time ever since Petco Park started in 2004, this is the first time people actually believe the Padres have a World Series caliber team. And people in San Diego are losing it. Average ticket price now, or you trying to buy a ticket on opening day, put that number right back up there, Grande Alejandro. Okay. People want in on this game badly. $270. Now, that may not sound a lot to you if you're listening in LA and you want into a Dodger game, and maybe it's a whole lot more. But I'm telling you right now, the average ticket price at Petco Park is probably like $20.
Can I give the fans of San Diego a heads up?
Please.
Don't go on Thursday.
Wow. What are you doing?
Save yourself some money. Listen, it's going to be sold out. There's 10,000 people. If every game is not sold out, that's a travesty in San Diego. First of all, it's 10,000 people. So I'm not worried about telling people not to go. What I mean is, for us normal people that are not gold or platinum season ticket members, you know how much you can get a ticket for on Friday and Saturday and Sunday? $35.
Yeah.
Just wait a day.
Listen, see, this is the problem. This is your problem. Here y'all are. It's time to celebrate. You got a team. You ain't seen them in a year. They're about to run out on the field. Don't you want to be there to congratulate your team regardless of what it costs? What kind of fan are you, sir?
No, I don't celebrate. I don't celebrate getting swept in the playoffs, John. Sorry.
No, not at all. And not at any cost, by the way. No, not really. I'm happy to sit here in my house and watch it all on TV and watch the television production. And I have no problem with it all. I'm getting vaccinated on Friday. I told you I'm going to try and lay low this week before this all goes down. I'm not going anywhere near Petco Park. Mask, no mask, gloves, nothing. Until I'm vaccinated, I'm trying to lay low. I don't want to be that dumbass that gets COVID the day before he gets vaccinated. Now,
by the way, getting it on Friday doesn't mean you can go out on Friday.
What does it mean?
It means that you have 10 to 14 days to wait till then you can go out on Friday.
Right. So
you got to be kidding me, man.
No, that's how it works.
Yeah, it's not some Captain America super chamber. It takes some time to get through your body.
Oh, no. I planned on leaving the country and going to, I'll go to Italy on Friday after I take this shot.
No, you got to wait a little bit.
Good luck.
All right. Manny Machado, though, says he's very excited about the fans being in the stands. So he don't care if there's 10,000 people, if there's 45,000 people. Grande, you want to read to us here what Manolo said?
Yes, sir. Manolo Machado says, quote, opening day with fans in there, it's definitely going to be sick. I know everybody in here can't wait. I've been pumping it up. It's going to be the loudest, however many thousand fans we have. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
Hey, now. All right, Manolo
Machado.
I mean, look, he has he is a villain if he's on somebody else's team. He's your guy if he's on your team. Padre fans are going to be loving that. And if he's going to get into it and he's going to be the guy, I mean, let's face it, he has to be the guy. Tatis might be the face and the swag, but he's the veteran pro, And so, and he's the guy who's making $30 million this year, whereas Tatis ain't making the big money for many years to come. I mean, he's locked in, but he ain't making money for like another 5 years.
According to you, he's making $9 million for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, this year he's making like $900. Okay.
Yeah. 340 million. Your math was 125 million at the end of the day. Yeah.
All right. So while Padre fans, as I'm going to continue to try and move through this, because these are the stories that people are talking about today on Wednesday. And by the way, keep it on the track here of baseball. So the Dodger fans believe that they've got the greatest team that maybe baseball has ever assembled. The hype is insane. You know, they've got so many pitchers that David Price can make $30 million and come out of the bullpen. They got so many hitters that they got 2 guys that are favorites to win the MVP. So, Bellinger and Betts, both considered favorites for MVP. I actually think it's kind of interesting that Seager's not in this conversation, at least from the Dodgers. Here's what the odds are to win the NL MVP. Grande, you want to take us through this?
This is according to Caesar Sportsbook in Las Vegas. The NFL MVP odds. Mookie Betts is your leader at 8-1. Cody Bellinger and Juan Soto of the Nationals follow them at 17-2. Our boy, our superstar, our captain, San Diego, Fernando Tatis, is at 9-1, followed by the Braves, Ronald Acuna at 10-1, and also the Braves, and reigning MVP, Freddie Freeman at 12-1.
Mm-hmm. Anybody here understand, if you put that slide back up on the screen, for those of you that are listening, you heard the numbers, but does anybody here understand 17-2?
God, no.
No, but tell us though, you bet the ponies all the time. You're always
I looked at this. I looked at this and I thought to myself, do people get this? Because I'm not like a gambler, but I do like to bet on horse racing when it's summertime at Del Mar. So I know a little bit. So because I've asked, because I didn't know.
Is this correct? Can I take a shot at it? I could be
go
very,
ahead.
very wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is 8-1 odds mean that if you put $1 down, you win 8, or is it reversed if Mookie Betts wins?
You got it. It's $8 to $1. So if you put down $1, you're going to get back $8. Okay.
Got it.
Now, so then what do you think 17-2 means?
It means that if you put $2 down, you win $17.
Okay. So therefore, why do they have it as 17-2? Why wouldn't they have it at something else? What would the other else be if it was just something to 1?
8.5.
17
There you go.
8.5.
8.5 to 1. There you go. So sorry. So like you look at this and you go 8-1 and 17-2. Is 17-2 like way worse than 8-1? No, it's 8-1 versus 8.5 to 1.
It's easier math that way.
I know, 17-2. Yeah. I don't know why they put 17-2. All right, so there you go. There's the NL MVP odds. The Dodgers have 2 at the top. The Padres have 1. The Braves have 2 MVP candidates. I actually think the Dodgers have 3, and I think the Padres have a legit 2. I think the Padres have a legit 2. So, okay, now moving on. These are the big stories. These are the stories that people are talking about on Wednesday. This portion of it being brought to you by my man, Gary Cooper, Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty Services, 858-376-1299. Hey, if you want to buy a house right now, market's insane. I mean, market's crazy. There's no inventory. Prices are crazy, and the interest rates are ridiculously low still. But if you're trying to make a move, whether it's refinancing, buying, or selling, you talk to my man, Gary Cooper, 858-376-1299. Okay. The NCAA basketball tournament last night. USC gets annihilated by Gonzaga. I don't know how these guys do it. I don't get it, right? They're a small school in a tiny conference in a little podunk town, and somehow they recruit and get the best. And while they haven't finished the deal, they're just a couple steps away now. And they blasted USC. I actually thought that the Pac-12's run was over. I thought Oregon State had gotten beat, USC had gotten beat, maybe UCLA is going to get beat by a much better Michigan team. And what happens? All heart, UCLA goes on now and makes it to the Final Four.
That game was terrible. That was a terrible game to watch. No thanks. If you're a fan of UCLA, you loved it. If you're a fan of Michigan, you were indifferent about it because you lost. You probably were upset. But it was a terrible game to watch. It was bad television.
This stinks. I'll tell you this. This stinks. Because if, as a San Diego State alum, as a San Diego State Aztec supporter, which I know many of our viewers are, you try to be Gonzaga. You try to be the powerhouse of the small conference that is nationally recognizable.
Mhm.
And you would love to be UCLA, where you're in the Pac-12 and you have consistent success. Maybe not as much as you used to, but this stinks. These are two teams that, if you're San Diego State, you're looking up to. Sorry, USC, no one really cares about your basketball program. We care about football. But UCLA basketball is what you're aiming to be. I mean, Gonzaga is what you're aiming to be. UCLA basketball is what you hope to be, to have some national championships under your belt. This stinks. Stinks.
No, the point is very well made. San Diego State for years was involved in this conversation as one of the best programs on the West Coast. And people would say, beyond Gonzaga and maybe Arizona, depending on the year, I mean, San Diego State statistically ranks as one of the best basketball programs in the country and certainly one of the best on the West Coast. But UCLA has the history and the championships. Gonzaga has the consistency and the success in the modern era. And so when Gonzaga is great, but USC and UCLA stink, San Diego State's good and Arizona's not that good. San Diego State is literally like the second best program on the West Coast.
Ever since San Diego State's been good, you'd think UCLA's been down. This is their third Final Four appearance in 2006.
It's incredible. So UCLA, I got to give them credit because they don't seem to have the great talent. They seem to have the great team. And I hear what you're saying, which is UCLA's success is bad for San Diego State's basketball business.
Yep.
It's when you win. It's when you win. Winning in the regular season is great. Winning the Mountain West Conference is great. When do you win games? You don't win them late in the year, so they tend to not matter as much.
We also talked about it before San Diego State got blown out by Syracuse. Is Browner made a great point before we were even on television, is what is San Diego State's signature victory in the tournament? I don't know. I can give you signature losses.
I can listen. The
Syracuse,
loss,
Duke, UConn.
Dude, the Syracuse, the loss to me that always will stick out to me.
UConn
is the UConn game in the pond in Anaheim. Okay, Kemba Walker flopped. Okay, Jamal Franklin was a freshman at the time. Kawhi Leonard was in his second year, but was not going to last much longer. And Kemba Walker flopped. Jamal Franklin got a technical. UConn won the game, and I can remember being in the locker room. It just popped up on my Facebook the other day. I can remember being in the locker room and watching Kawhi and watching the seniors who they'd had the best season in the history of San Diego State basketball. I think they were 33-2 or something like that. So yeah, a signature loss for sure. So, hey, congrats to UCLA. Alex, if you put up the Final Four, let's take a look at what we've got here. And somebody had made a comment on Twitter that there's not one team east of the Mississippi in the Final Four. Because
first time
the West
ever.
Coast, yeah, always West Coast teams don't get the attention. Gonzaga against UCLA, the best team, the undefeated team against the upstart Cinderella of the tournament. And don't tell me you can't call UCLA a Cinderella. You can. They were an 11 seed who had to play their way in. Yes, they are. They are the Cinderella of this tournament. 1 versus 11.
They're the blue blood of the Final Four.
Maybe so, but they are also the undermanned team. They are the 11 seed, and they have to play their way in.
UCLA can never be considered a Cinderella ever. I don't care if they're a 16 seed.
They cannot.
I don't care if they're a 16 seed.
This would be the
program.
This would be the lowest watched Final Four in the history of Final Fours. Watch. Nobody wants to see Houston. UCLA has a huge following across the country. Gonzaga, maybe nobody wants to see Baylor.
This is the Elite Eight was the most watched Elite Eight in the history of the NCAA tournament. But I give credit to that being that it was a Monday and Tuesday night instead of a Saturday and Sunday afternoon.
Well, Browner bringing it with a hot take immediately, letting us know that he thinks that this will be the least watched Final Four
ever.
And for those of you that are watching on television for the first time, you're just kind of coming across the show. You're like, that's what this man's about. He's a hot take machine. In fact, Alex, let's go to the brackets right now because we are into the championship round of the Browner hot take brackets. Alex, if you would.
Our final round of the Browner hot take brackets, which are actual things that John Browner says he believes. The championship round. This is the worst of the worst. Number 4, OJ is innocent versus number 2, Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And this will be live and active for a full week this will be over the night of the NCAA championship on Monday night.
Currently available for you to vote on Sided. So download the Sided mobile app or go to sided.co and make sure you vote. Now, I want to say to all the listeners and viewers out there how much I appreciate what you guys have done. I asked you to please vote for OJ is innocent because I think that is Browner's worst take, and I think it's the one that he most wants to hang on to. Remember the rules of the game. Whichever one of these lame hot takes actually wins, that's the one he has to eliminate from his repertoire. So please go to sided.co. Alex, why don't you vote right now? Will you vote for OJ Simpson?
No.
Or are you going to reserve?
He should be able to vote for whichever one he wants to get rid of.
Okay, Alex, go ahead. Which one do you want to get rid of? You show us.
Oh, this is so difficult. OJ it is. What? Goodbye, OJ.
Oh, and what is the current scoring?
54.5% to 45.5%. OJ leading the way.
Will all of the great listeners, will all of the viewers please go to sided.co or download the Sided Debates mobile app and vote for this OJ side so that Browner has to give this up. Hey, if you're watching on TV, Big John McCarthy, the most famous mixed martial arts referee, is coming up. This guy is so super interesting. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Hey, Dave Smith here. Make sure you listen to my show on the Mightier 1090, 6 to 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday night. The only local sports talk in all of Southern California on the weekends, right here on the Mightier 1090.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
Victor Howell here, host of the NCAA Tournament Special, Advance to Indianapolis. Each week, we'll assemble a panel of regional experts that follow your local teams all the way to the Final Four in Indianapolis. Highlights, predictions, interviews, and more as we advance to Indianapolis on Your View.
Brought to you by the Multicultural Health Foundation. Together against COVID. Visit blackcovidfactssd.org. City in Motion is brought to you by McDonald's. Stop by your local participating McDonald's now through April 25th and make a donation or visit walkforkids.org to support.
Hi, I'm Vince Bryson, CEO of Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southern California. Welcome to the 2020 Virtual Walk for Kids.
Coronavirus pandemic will not stop our show because we are still going to walk for these kids.
You guys want to do the Walk for Kids virtually this year?
Yeah! Today is Walk for Kids, you guys, virtually. So we love it, love it, love it.
Let's get this walk started.
We are going to start. So I'm going to be walking around my backyard.
Doing the 5K walk. We're here in front of the beautiful Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum.
So we are getting ready to do lap 3.
We're here to send our support.
I love the excitement. I love the energy. Let's keep it going.
If you want to know the reason why I'm walking, it's
because I care about the kids and the families that stay at our house.
I walk for the Los Angeles Ronald McDonald House for kids like me, so they can have a place to call their home away from home.
To me, the Ronald McDonald House means love, care, hope, and support.
The families and children of RMHC need our help and support now more than ever. So thank you for joining our virtual walk and continuing to support our Ronald McDonald House even during these difficult times.
Thank you so much for coming together, for showing that we can unite and be together even though we're not at our respective locations.
Thank you for participating in this virtual walk.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your help and support, and stay well.
Ronald McDonald House Charities of SoCal gives families with sick kids the best medicine, each other. Stop by your local McDonald's today and make a donation or visit walkforkids.org to support. City in Motion, highlighting great things in our community like Ronald McDonald House Charities. Give families with sick kids the best medicine, each other.
Hey, it's Pharrell here, inviting you to catch my shows on the Mightier 1090. We're on twice every Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Trust me, all the other sports stations are sleeping with your wife.
The all-new and Mightier 1090.
Adios, love handles.
Adios, couch.
Adios, Quarantine 15.
Say adios to the quarantine bod with Pollo Fit Bowls, made with fire-grilled chicken and organic super greens from El Pollo Loco.
Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community.
Hi, I'm Erica Cardenas. Join me on the next Doing More as we celebrate the many accomplishments of women during Women's History Month.
Doing More, Sunday and Monday night on Your View. Sponsored by The Burns Firm, partnering with Shelter to Soldier and saving lives 2 at a time. Visit theburnsfirm.com/shelter to soldier and help save more lives.
We have a term for typical cheese-filled, grease-covered, regret-inducing takeout. That's why dinner from El Pollo Loco is always fire-grilled, freshly prepared, feel-good food. The $20 Familia Dinner from El Pollo Loco.
Kaplan and Crew tonight presents Sports in a Minute.
One more day until we can turn on our TVs and see baseball that matters is being played again. There's just something so exciting about when April rolls around and the Major League Baseball season truly gets going. Tomorrow, the Padres will be taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks at Petco Park. We'll see Yu Darvish taking the bump in his second career opening day start. The National League Cy Young runner-up said that he is feeling the best he's felt in his career, which has got to be music to Padres fans' ears. An interesting fact about tomorrow's matchup, Diamondbacks pitcher Madison Bumgarner will be matching up with the Friars on opening day for the 3rd year in a row, his second in a Diamondbacks uniform. As the guys have been talking about here on Kaplan and Crew, the storyline in the NL West that everyone will be watching is how the Padres are going to stack up against the defending World Series champion Dodgers. I'm Haley Stasiak, that's your Sports in a Minute. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Attention, all dogs, cats, horses, tortoises, birds, pigs, and all other pets. Get your family members to sit, stay, and watch Animal Zone every Saturday at 9 p.m. right here on this channel and at animalzone.org.
Tune in Saturdays at 9 p.m. to watch Animal Zone right here on Your View.
Victor Howell here, host of the NCAA Tournament Special, Advance to Indianapolis. Each week, we'll assemble a panel of regional experts that follow your local teams all the way to the Final Four in Indianapolis. Highlights, predictions, interviews, and more as we advance to Indianapolis on Your View.
Brought to you by the Multicultural Health Foundation. Together against COVID. Visit blackcovidfactssd.org.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 in your view, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
All right, everybody. I am really excited to welcome back to the show a gentleman who last time he was on, dude, I was like, you know what? We just started to scratch the surface. And so I'm really glad he's back now. Big John McCarthy, most famous, I think, to mixed martial arts fans as like the best referee in UFC. Let's get it on. But now has moved into the commentating world, working for Showtime and Bellator, and they've got a big fight and big promotion coming up this weekend. And so Big John McCarthy is back on Kaplan and Crew. What do you say, Big John? How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Come on, you just said it all, man. I get to work on Showtime and Bellator. How lucky am I? Who the hell am I doing all that?
Dude, I don't know how you did this. Last time you were here, we were having this conversation, and like I said, it was pretty much time to go. And I'm like, what are we doing? We missed the story. I asked you back then, I said, how did you even get into all of this? And you started telling the story about being a cop in LA. Can we start there?
Sure.
So take me through this. Cop and also somebody who was in the martial arts world. Do I have this right?
Yeah, kind of. You know, they kind of go together because if you're a police officer, you should be always working to be as professional as you can be. And you want to be competent in what you do. And if you're going to be taking people into custody, if there's a better way to do it, if there's a way that you're not going to hurt them and you're not going to get hurt yourself, that was something that I looked towards. And that kind of led me into certain areas within law enforcement. And then I met Jorge and Gracie, and everything just started to happen from there. So I was just very lucky to be where I was at the time that I was there. Everything just kind of fell into place for me.
Was martial arts something that you practiced as a young kid, or was this something that you got into after you already had become a police officer?
I'm being honest as far as martial arts. It's what I call martial arts. Yes, I was part of wrestling. I was part of boxing. I competed in both of those. But my dad did not believe in traditional karate, or I loved Bruce Lee at the time. I'd watch him and say, I want to do that, right? And he goes, no, you're going to stay with boxing. You're going to stay with wrestling. That's real. So, but now I know those are martial arts too. So he was allowing me to do martial arts, just not the ones that at the time I thought I wanted to do.
And how old are you at this point, and where are you at this point? Like, I mean, physically, geographically, where were you living at this time?
I live in East Tennessee.
No. I mean, back when you were a kid, when your dad said, no.
Oh, back then I started wrestling and boxing when I was 7 years old. And I was living in Lakewood, California at the time. And then it was in Hacienda Heights. We moved to Hacienda Heights and then continued there.
Okay. And did you go to high school there?
Yes, I did.
And then did you get done with school? Like I'm curious, because I think it all leads up to where we're going, which is Bellator and what's going to happen this weekend. But when do you go into law enforcement as a young guy?
I went into law enforcement. I was 22 years old. It was that was another one of my dad's things. I was kind of getting into some trouble. I enjoyed fighting. It was fun for me, but sometimes you would do it in places you weren't supposed to. And my dad was the one who goes, you better figure out life, because you're going to end up either putting people in prison or you're going to be the one being put in prison. So you better be smart. And I was like, you might have a point there. So it's a matter of, I just kind of went that way.
All right, so we're talking to Big John McCarthy. He was most famous because he was the referees that you saw in every gigantic UFC fight ever. He's now moved into commentating, working for Showtime and for Bellator. They've got a really big fight coming up this weekend. We're going to get to that. So the reason I asked you all of this is because last time you were here, it was like, yeah, I'm a retired cop. I'm like, retired? You're a young guy. So how long did you spend as a cop?
23 years.
Jeez,
I was with LAPD from 1985 to 2007. So it was 23 years basically that I was there, 22 years and 9 months, I think.
Yeah.
So it was, just everything else that was going on in my life and the officiating and stuff. And it was, my wife was the one, she's the one that basically said, that's it. You don't have enough time for everything. So That was why I left, because it was always a good place for me to be. It was a safety net for me. It was very simple as far as, I was training people at the time, so I wasn't going to get myself in any kind of trouble. I was trying to teach them not to get in trouble. So it was a good job for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people I was around. It just got to a point where I had too many other things going.
So at what point in a 23-year career as an officer, when do you start saying, okay, between being a cop and between being a boxer, a wrestler, a martial artist, I can combine these skills and become a referee? How did that take place? How did that happen for you?
Well, actually, like I said, it was the Rodney King incident, and I was put onto what was called a arrest and control review board, because they were looking at, you got to look at what happened with the Rodney King thing, how ridiculous it really was, as far as, you're trying to get a guy to comply by hitting him with a steel pipe. Well, that's not too bright, but that's kind of what they were trained to do. And so we came up with this, and that was where I met Rorion Gracie. So that was, later on in 1991. And then the UFC came about in 1993, and I was already a student with Rorion and training with him and Royce. And Royce was going to be the participant in it, and he asked me to, hey, can you be one of my sparring partners for it? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And so we were getting him ready for it. And it was actually the very first fight in the UFC that got me the job of being a referee. I had no intentions on trying to be a referee or anything like that. It was Taylor Tooley fought Gerard Gordeau. And at the time, the referees were not supposed to stop the fight. They didn't have that power, supposedly. The fighter could tap out, or the corner could throw in a towel. But the referee didn't have the power. Well, the referee was a guy named João Barreto, and he's a good guy, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from Helio Gracie. He stopped the fight, and from there, Rorion came to me and said, I need you to referee. And I looked at him and said, I don't know how to referee, and I didn't, but somehow I did it, and eventually kind of figured things out.
All right. So Big John McCarthy is here. This is an amazing story, from LAPD cop to the most famous mixed martial arts referee on the planet, to now becoming a commentator. And as a commentator, you said something interesting. You opened the door, so I'm going to walk through it. You mentioned the Rodney King situation, okay, and that police brutality way back then, and what it sparked in the LA area, right? Now, today, I know we're going to talk Bellator, but I'm just curious your opinion. I'm watching the trial of George Floyd and what happened in Minneapolis, and how the world has changed in a year, not just with COVID, but with, social unrest over an incident that began a year ago, this George Floyd situation. What is your opinion as a former officer and as someone who is then teaching officers how to better handle situations like these? What do you think about what's going on?
Well, as far as the trial, or what actually occurred to George Floyd?
What happened? What occurred?
Well, what occurred is you have someone who the officers have cuffed, and then you have someone kneeling on his neck and head. Why? What is the purpose? No matter what anyone wants to say, you look and you say, he's cuffed. How is he fighting you when he's cuffed? He can try to move, but he's not going to move real well. And it doesn't take a whole lot of skill level to keep somebody on the ground, when they're cuffed, to put your entire body weight. We have what's called positional asphyxiation. And there's a lot of things that went into the George Floyd thing. And he was on some narcotics, which didn't help the situation because it sped up his heart. But you have positional asphyxiation. And when a big man especially, and George Floyd was a big man, is on his stomach and you put pressure on him flat, they can actually just stop breathing. And it's not that they're having a heart attack or anything like that. It's just their diaphragm shuts down from the pressure of their own body weight, and then you put somebody else's body weight on it. We've known about positional asphyxiation since I was a pretty young police officer. So how is it that they don't know about that? Training, it's unfortunate that all training is not the same everywhere, no matter if it's for police officers, for fighters, for referees. Knowledge is key in being able to be good at something. And when you have those bits of knowledge, you go, don't do that. And if you see someone doing it, you grab them, you pick them, and you take them off of them. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and a tragedy occurred.
Big John McCarthy, that's incredible commentary, given your experience. And I see this trial, and I see this young female firefighter who said she was trying, and the cops wouldn't let her get near it. I mean, it's just such a tragedy, such a terrible thing, you know? I mean, it makes people hate cops, you know?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's like anything, you know, this whole thing, 99% of police officers are good people. I try to tell people this all the time because it was true. I saw it, and you know, what I did is, are you going to have bad police officers? Yes. Because you have bad people, not a lot, but you have people out there that, you know, they shouldn't be a police officer because they can't handle that responsibility, that power. And there is a power that goes with it. But you have bad doctors, you have bad lawyers, you have bad accountants, you have bad, you know, waiters, waitresses. You're going to have bad people. The thing is, you've got to get rid of those people. And unfortunately, just saying, hey, I've seen this person do this, to just get rid of them, they don't. They kind of hold on to them, and they know, but we'll just put them over here. Get rid of them. As soon as you know that someone is heavy-handed in a situation, does things that they shouldn't do, it's a call sign of, hey, this person cannot handle the responsibility of, you know, as a police officer, the one thing that works against you is when the suspect says, enough, stop, you know, I can't breathe, or I'm tired, you know, I give up. That's it. You give up. You don't have the same thing. You know, if you're getting beat by the suspect and you go, hey, stop, give up, I give up, you're going to get beat. There's no rules on their side. But you have rules, and you follow those rules, and you don't break them, because bad things can happen.
Big John McCarthy, amazing conversation. Absolutely incredible. Had no idea it would take this direction. This is why, by the way. Oh, it's awesome. Browner, Alex, this is why you can go from cop to great ref to commentator now on Showtime.
You forgot judge.
Promotion.
He was also a judge for a while, right, John?
Oh, I've been a judge many times. Yeah, I thought partly you get commissions.
When I saw you judge, I was like, please let this be the new trend of refs becoming judges, because judges in MMA, far worse than boxing, in my opinion. They are pretty bad. Like, you've seen.
I will tell you right now, there's some good ones, but it's far harder to judge MMA than it is boxing. Far harder, because I've done both, and way more difficult to judge MMA.
Hey, John,
yes, sir.
I've been into, I'm from an area where the police are often challenged by the residents.
Where at?
South side of Chicago.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit.
So, and I've heard a bunch of guys say, till you take that badge off, I'll beat you know what. How many times have you heard that and been tempted to take that badge off?
Okay, I'm going to cover my eyes. I've heard it. And yeah, you know, tempt as far as, do you feel like saying, oh, I'll make your worst dream come true? Sure. Yeah.
Right.
But again, this is where you go, I can't do that. That's stepping outside of those parameters. That is, you've got to be the bigger person. They can sit there and say the words and flap the lips all they want. It's part of what it is. If you have something to take them away on, go ahead and do that. If not, it's freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a good thing, even when it's against you at times. You know, I'm not saying that I like everything that everyone can say, but when, you know, you have someone who's saying, you know, they don't like what a police officer is doing, that's freedom of speech. And it's what makes our country great. That should not be taken away.
All right. Big John McCarthy is here today on Kaplan and Crew. So let me ask you something. You were an LAPD officer for 23 years. And the last time we spoke to you, you were at home in Nashville, Tennessee. Oh man, I was like all up in your business too, dude. Like you had, because you had like this really cool looking, like wood cabiny looking place, you know, and beautiful pillars, wood pillars. And you had, I think like maybe even had like a bar-ish kind of a thing that was happening right behind you, you know. How did you leave Southern California and go to Tennessee?
Well, actually I left Southern California. I was living down towards the beach with my wife. My kids were all grown up, and we had a little tiny, I mean, it was about 1,000 square foot place that I lived, but it was right on the channels in Ventura, and about 400 yards from the actual beach.
Where's this at? Where exactly? This is Alex's hometown here. You're talking at the 805.
Oxnard. Yeah.
Yeah. Oxnard, you know, Channel Islands.
Yep.
So it's a gorgeous, and it's a place that a lot of people really don't know about. And I loved it there. It was beautiful, but I was traveling, you figure, just officiating fights. I was doing about 300,000 air miles a year. So you can figure how many times I was going to the airport. And the travel from there to LAX or Burbank was about usually a 3-hour drive every time. And just one time I was stuck in traffic again. And I said, that's it. I'm moving. I'm done. And I tried to make my life easier. And I went to Vegas, and my wife hated it. She absolutely did not like it. She missed the water. So she was the one that picked Tennessee, and she did a great job of where she picked.
What body of water do we have? I don't know.
I live right there at a lake. So
on a lake.
He has his own lake, Scott.
Okay. I was trying to figure out.
It's everybody's lake, and that's a good thing. I like it with those people.
Big John McCarthy. So let's talk about Bellator this weekend.
Yeah.
So let me ask you first and foremost, is this on Showtime or is this pay-per-view? And the reason I ask is because I think the last time I turned on Showtime was to see Homeland, which is a great series. And I literally keep Showtime because of Homeland. Now, obviously, I've got Bellator fights. I got Big John. But is this on Showtime or is this pay-per-view?
Let me ask you one question, because he was talking about South Chicago. Have you not seen Shameless?
Great show.
Love that show.
Showtime's got Shameless. I love that show.
Great show.
But yes, when you talk
Billions,
about,
you watch Billions at all on Showtime?
I love Billions.
Billions is amazing.
I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but a lot of what I watch is actually on Showtime because they got some great programs. But it's a premium channel, meaning, yes, you do pay for it. But for Bellator 255 coming up on April 2nd, if you just want to watch the fights and you don't have Showtime, all you have to do is go to the channel and it will come on.
Really?
And you can watch Bellator 255 and see the product that Bellator puts out, the production that Showtime puts out, and see what they're doing to, present these fights and make them, special events. So it's a whole package that Showtime is doing. They're giving everyone a free kind of a free subscription for the first couple. Then it's a reduced rate price. So it's a good thing for both. It's a good thing for Bellator to get eyes on the product and some of the fighters that we have, especially leading off with Pitbull and Manuel Sanchez in the championship fight for the main event. That's an incredible rematch. And so it's going to be it's good. Anybody can watch it. Anybody can go to that Showtime channel, and at 9:00 Eastern or 6:00 Pacific, it's going to blink. It'll come on your TV and you can watch the whole show.
This is such a great idea because MMA has so much room to grow. I'm new to it to a certain extent, and I found, other than John Jones, watching some of the women fight have been more entertaining than some of the guys fighting.
You're right.
So there's so much room for this sport to grow, and I think what Bellator is going to do by giving it to people for free is really it's very, very smart. That's a great partnership.
Absolutely, and it's perfect because Showtime is so good with I want to say combat sports. They have ShowBox, and they also have the NFL, and they've done a great job with their package with the NFL and what they show and the breakdowns and stuff. And so, they had Strikeforce. I was a referee back then, so I did work with them and, knew a lot of the people that were part of the production crew back then with Strikeforce and Showtime. And now a lot of them are the same people. So I get to work with them just in a little bit different element. I'm the guy flapping my lips about what's happening in the cage.
I love that you've become a commentator. Alex, give me your opinion, though, because you know these fighters way better than we do. What do you think?
What I love about what Bellator does, and I wished other promotions would do this, is the Grand Prix style, John. I mean, it's such a throwback to the old Pride days. Obviously not the same night, but the Grand Prix is basically a tournament, guys. So this is the featherweight division. They get a bunch of fighters, tournament style, and make your way to a championship fight. Starting next week, you got the light heavyweight one, which, Scott, you'll know a couple names like Phil Davis, who's we've interviewed many times before on the show. What is it, John? Like 8 guys on the light heavyweight
Phil
Grand
Davis,
Prix?
Ryan Bader, Leona Machida, Anthony Rumble Johnson, Yoel Romero, Vadim Nemkov, and Yagomashirov. Corey Anderson is the other one.
So basically, if these guys can stay healthy, they fight April, they fight July, and then the championship in October. It's something that I love that Bellator does. I wish every promotion would take this on, because that way that the guys that's supposed to fight for the title will fight for the title.
That the best part of it, I'm going to say one thing about it, especially because we had the featherweights, and this is the semifinal for the featherweight Grand Prix, this main event fight, even though it's a championship fight also, because they always put the champion in the tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And so by putting the champion in the tournaments, that makes every fight in the tournament a 5-round, 5-minute each round fight. So the one thing that Bellator has done with the tournaments, especially they did it with the featherweights, is they gave the control to the fighters. This is something as a fighter you just don't get. It's the John Jones situation right now. He wants to fight Francis Ngannou, and he just wants to make a certain amount of money for it, but he's not in control here. What Bellator did was, they matched up the first 16 for the featherweight tournament, but when those guys won, they actually had a show where the fighters could either pick their opponent or pick the date and location of where they were fighting, so they had some control of what they were going to do. And the promoter is going, I don't have any control. And I love that they give that control over to him. And so, right now, Pitbull and Sanchez both know, we got to face each other and this is for the championship. But they also know if I win, my next opponent is AJ McKee, who is sitting there because he won his semifinal match against Darian Caldwell. So you know exactly where you're going, right? When AJ McKee, who will be on the broadcast, is watching that fight, he knows which guy he's going to face next. There's no doubt.
This is going to be a great, great fight and television production. Big John, we're all watching Showtime, 6 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday night to watch Bellator. Man, so much love. Really appreciate you doing this for us.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, guys. Anytime, man. Love you guys.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Arash Markazi here, inviting you to catch my show, The Arash Markazi Show, on the mightier 1090. We are on every Monday through Friday from noon to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join me and producer extraordinaire G. Wiley, where we chop up Los Angeles sports and try not to piss too many people off.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community.
Hi, I'm Erica Cardenas. Join me on the next Doing More as we celebrate the many accomplishments of women during Women's History Month.
Doing More, Sunday and Monday night on Your View. Sponsored by The Barnes Firm, partnering with Shelter to Soldier and saving lives 2 at a time. Visit thebarnesfirm.com/shelter to soldier and help save more lives. From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health.
I'm Erica Cardenas, and on the next episode of Your Health, we're helping you up your nutrition game. Expert advice on how to make simple changes to better nutrition, and delicious energy bites with only 5 ingredients.
Watch Your Health Sunday, Monday, and Thursday only on Your View, or stream it online at yourview.com. Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
So much madness. You just gotta love it. UCLA is headed back to the Final Four for the first time since 2008. The Bruins went from the first 4 to the Final Four after beating 1-seeded Michigan on Tuesday night in a thriller that came down to the final seconds. The only other team to make the Final Four after having to play in a first 4 play-in game was VCU in 2011. The standout for UCLA was Johnny Juzang, who has been lights out during the tournament. Against Michigan, Juzang had 28 points, 18 of which came in the first half. Now, UCLA is going to be a pretty big underdog in this Final Four matchup against 1-seeded Gonzaga. Gonzaga is looking to be the first men's college basketball team to complete an undefeated season since the 1975-76 Indiana Hoosiers. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew Tonight.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View.
Pete Gray here, inviting you to catch my show, Let's Talk Hookup, every Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Time. For over 30 years, we've been the voice of the fishing community for Southern California, and so glad to be back on the big stick.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
Explore the Southwest lifestyle, the culture, the music, the food, y más. Join hosts J.R. Cardenas and Vanessa Ramirez on Su Vida.
March is the month that we associate with the color green.
And what better place to bring it in than Moon Valley Nurseries, where we're surrounded by green and every other color of the rainbow.
We're celebrating the planting of the green on the next
Su Vida.
Watch Su Vida Sunday and Monday night only on Your View and yourview.com. Su Vida. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community.
Hi, I'm Erica Cardenas. Join me on the next Doing More as we celebrate the many accomplishments of women during Women's History Month.
Doing More Sunday and Monday night on Your View. Sponsored by The Burns Firm, partnering with Shelter to Soldier and saving lives 2 at a time. Visit theburnsfirm.com/shelter to soldier and help save more lives. Time now for Kaplan and Crew Tonight's Community Connect.
Shelter to Soldier selects dogs from shelters and rescue groups all throughout California. Our ideal candidate at Shelter to Soldier is 8 months to a year and a half old. They're confident in different environments. They have strong social drive. Another motivator like food or toy drive. And ultimately, these are dogs that want to have a job and that have a greater purpose to become a service dog. Currently, about 85% of our dogs pass their service dog training. But if they don't pass, they become a career change. We don't like to use the word failure around here. So career change to an emotional support animal, or if that doesn't work out, then they career change to a pet dog. Still finding a loving placement and purpose in life.
Casa de Amparo has been around since 1978, and now we're in the Twin Oaks Valley in San Marcos with a beautiful campus. We work with children and families who've experienced chronic trauma over their lifetime, and we're here to help heal that.
I always told myself, seeing that my mother passed away through domestic violence, that I would never put myself in that position. And if it ever happened, I would leave, but it's easier said than done.
These are foster youth who are not able to manage in a foster home environment. My husband and I have been a part of the San Marcos community in our businesses since 1993.
One of the beautiful things about Kayleen, she started here at Casa de Amparo years ago when we were at the shelter with a church group.
How can we best give back is to volunteer our time.
Because without donors like Bassett, we would not be able to provide the services we provide.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew Tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Victor Howell here, host of the NCAA Tournament Special, Advance to Indianapolis. Each week, we'll assemble a panel of regional experts that follow your local teams all the way to the Final Four in Indianapolis. Highlights, predictions, interviews, and more as we advance to Indianapolis on Your View.
Brought to you by the Multicultural Health Foundation. Together against COVID. Visit blackcovidfactssd.org. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community.
Hi, I'm Erica Cardenas. Join me on the next Doing More as we celebrate the many accomplishments of women during Women's History Month.
Doing More, Sunday and Monday night on Your View. Sponsored by The Burns Firm, partnering with Shelter to Soldier and saving lives 2 at a time. Visit theburnsfirm.com/shelter to soldier and help save more lives.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio, SoCal Sports Talk.